What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tommy McAllister, and today we got a little bit of a different episode. I'm coming in here to talk about the Kanye West and his wife Bianca's, what happened at the Grammy Awards ceremony, and how she basically wore nothing to the ceremony on the red carpet. Now, I'm going to jump in here. I'm not here to judge or anything like that. What I'm here to do is teach, help a brother out, but also help to teach you how has Kanye failed as a leader of his house, as a husband, and somebody who proclaims to follow Christ. Now, I know that's in a weird spot for him, but as we can use the things of this world to grow ourselves. Because we as men and husbands and leaders and fathers, we must lead our family, and if we don't, the world will. If we do not lead our family, the world will. And so here's the thing. We're so influenced by pop culture. I don't watch the news or TV or anything like that for a specific reason. I don't want any of that stuff to try to infiltrate my brain, which has hidden agendas. But that's what people are looking to as the standard. Oh, well, if he did that, I can wear naked. You're seeing more and more promiscuous women out there. You're seeing more and more provocative stuff being worn. And here is Kanye standing by and watching this happen. So I'm going to break down multiple points on this, of how he dropped the ball and how you, as a leader of your house, can set the standard on the other way from that. So we'll pray for Kanye at the end. We'll do all of that. But this is a way to use it to use it for good. So I'm just going to talk about the situation for a minute. You can watch the video online. I didn't put it in here as a reaction because I don't want to share it because it's kind of lustful in certain aspects. He's got a beautiful wife. That's obvious. And there's barely any blurring out. So you'll almost see a naked woman. But here's the thing. What it does is they're walking on the red carpet. She has a black fur coat on. They start whispering in each other's ears. I don't know if he's telling her, she's telling him. Either way, we're going to address this. She then turns around, takes off this fur coat, and she's basically wearing nothing. Yeah, I would have say what she's wearing is like a nylon, but even thinner than nylons that you would put on leggings over your legs, right, for women, because you could pretty much see everything. And she stood there, turned multiple ways, took all these pictures, and Kanye just stood by and watched. This specific situation reminded me of Adam and Eve, where Adam stood by and watched Eve eat the apple. Well, God came looking for Adam. He didn't come looking for Eve. Adam let that happen. Adam was a passive, docile man in those ways. So there's multiple things. I'm going to touch on one main point here before I get into those. If this was his wife's idea and not him, he was being Adam. If this was his wife's idea and he didn't like it, this is what you're supposed to do as a man. Babe, I love you. You're beautiful, but this is not what the West family stands for. You know that. You know who I am as a man of God. And I'm not going to allow you to wear that to the ceremony. You need to go change in a loving way. If she does not go change, you don't need to argue, yell, anything. When say, well, babe, here's how this is going to work. I'm there up for Rap Song of the Year. And this is about me going there. I want nothing more than to have my other half with me, but we're not going together if you're wearing this. So A, you can change, or B, you're not going to go. Those are the options. I'm sorry if this doesn't stand good with you, but this is what's happening. Now, as a leader, you should have your wife shouldn't even get close to being at this spot of wanting to wear this thing. That's where you set the standard from the beginning and get to this spot where she won't even do that. But let's break this down, how he went wrong in this situation. Number one, he didn't lead, he followed by culture. A real man sets the standard for his home, not lets the world set it for him. Kanye had a chance to lead his wife God's truth, but instead he let Hollywood run the show. He was doing this for the publicity. All publicity is good publicity, they say, even if it's in the negative light. Nobody was just up there just like, dude, I want the world to check out my wife's naked body. He knows it was going to be controversial. He knows these things would happen. And maybe I'm fueling into fire, but I'm going to take what the enemy meant for bad and I'm going to use it for good, which is Genesis 50:20, and I'm going to save lives from it. So we never do things to give into the ways of the world. Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world. Do not follow culture. If culture says it's okay, that does not mean it's okay for you. If culture's pushing the gay agenda and all of that, that doesn't mean it's okay for you. You stick on God's truths, and if you do that, everything will play out how it's supposed to. And the reason why the culture is over there is because men, this is on me too, because I wasn't always this way, got it to this spot by not sticking to God's truth. And we got lukewarm and docile for a long time. And because of that, these things happened. Secondly, he allowed his wife to be a billboard of lust for other men. There's a great book on lust and porn and all that. It's called Every Man's Battle. By when a wife walks around with provocative stuff on, the world is staring. That's why I didn't put this video in here for you guys to see, because I didn't want to then be adding to that and having you guys lust over it. Because when we see a beautiful woman, our flesh immediately wants to think about how hot she is, but we have to bounce our eyes and take every thought captive, like Paul says. But now he's tempting other men. Jesus says, whoever causes a little one to stumble, it's better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and thrown into the lake. Kanye's causing other men to stumble by showing his wife's body for them, which then is having them resent their wives because their wives probably don't look like her. And we think that's what matters. And then that causes turmoil in the home. Next, he traded holiness for attention. You cannot claim to follow Christ and still play by the world's rules. It's not how it works, guys. You cannot trade those things in. So if you're a follower of Christ, you have to make tough decisions for your family. Your role as a leader for your house isn't to please your wife. It's to serve her. And that is bringing protection her way. By letting her know these are not things that we do. These are not the standards that our family lives by. By saying no to things that could harm them or others. That's why being a spiritual leader in the house is so important, because when you lead by a specific standard and you have so much fruit in your life and you're not worried about what the world thinks and all these things, guess what? She'll want that. And when she wants that, she will stop doing all these things that she thinks she needs. Like she needs all of the newest clothes, the bags, the cars, everything to try to make her happy, and to be half naked on social media like so many other girls right now, showing off their body, trying to get attention. And they think that's all where their identity is just in their body. Yes, work hard for your body. Take care of your temple. That's biblical. But not so you can show it off naked or the string bikini at the beach. He let the devil run his household. As spiritual leaders, we're in charge of our house, not the devil. The devil's going to try to get you lukewarm. A lot of churches do this. They try to get you to lower their standards to the standards of the church rather than raising them. They lower the standards of the church to the standards of its members rather than raising the standards of the members to the standards of this church. A lot of men do that in their house. They lower their standards to the standards of their family and the world rather than raising to the standards of them and God. Well, how do you know what God's standards are? By reading in the Word, by being in a strong men's group, by being in church, by being in solitude with God, by Sabbathing, by fasting, by tithing, by doing all of the stuff and learning and having your whole life be about God. But without that, you're going to get conformed to the patterns of the world. The more you consume of God, the more you become like God. The more you consume of the world, the more you become like the world. So that's where something I'll challenge you on. How much time are you consuming God, and how much time are you consuming things of this world? Are you watching sports? Are you watching Yellowstone? Are you watching all these TV shows? Are you watching social media? Are you listening to Talk Sports Radio? Are you having secular conversations all day? And if that's what's happening, then you're not growing with God. You're growing in the world. And that's just the truth. And I know I come across passionate guys because I've been on the death's doorstep and been in hell by doing that. And now we have a brother right here having his wife stand up there naked, and it's hard to see. He failed to show his wife real love. As I told you, this love isn't letting your wife do whatever she wants. It's leading her towards righteousness, respect, and dignity. A weak man stays silent when his wife is sexualized by the world. A strong man covers and protects her. Guys, he stood by and let it happen. Now, maybe he was the one telling her that. Now he's leading her into sin. Her self-worth, because then she starts seeing herself as an object of this is my worth. This is how I bring value. This is how my husband sees me, is that I need to be sexualized in front of the world instead of for her inner beauty, for her dignity, her respect, her self-worth, her talents and traits that God's given her, her unique ones to glorify him. And it wasn't just to show your naked body. Now she sees her identity as that. But when you get attention in this world because of your fruits, Jesus says, you'll know my people by their fruits. That's when you bring attention to God, because even it says in the Bible, don't take your light and put it under a bowl, put it on a lampstand. It's for the world to see who you are, but because of who you are, because of what Christ's doing in your life. He became another hypocritical Christian celebrity. Oftentimes in life, this is where it's a dance between God and the devil. The devil can sometimes give you a platform, but then you can take it and use it for God. Or God gives you this platform and the devil weasels his way in and he wants you to use it for him. How many celebrities for many years never spoke up about Jesus, never spoke up about the woke agenda, never spoke up about any of these things that were happening that sold their soul because they didn't want their movie roles or their records or anything like that to be silenced because of it. Instead of just saying, I serve a God that's bigger than you. And if you silence me, and if this is what God intended for my life to be in this specific role, he'll make it happen. And I'm going to serve that God. I'm not going to serve the world, because if you serve the world out of fear that it's going to get taken away and you love acting and music and all these things, guess what? That happens. Now you're serving the devil. And the same thing, now all of us aren't actors and musicians and things like that. I kind of run into this thing because we have a platform, but I've chosen to serve the God on this. And it was a hard decision for a while, but that was me being more lukewarm. But as you, as a leader of your house, you do what's right for the eyes of God, even though it doesn't make sense in the world. The world's going to tell you, just take a job because it has 401k plans and insurance plans and has a good salary, even though it's not necessarily what you love and it's not what God called you to do on this earth, but you go take it because that's the safe route. That's no different than what Kanye West is doing, just taking the safe route. Now, he's putting his wife on there, but I'm not saying those other people, I guess, in this situation. I guess what I'm saying is the situation before that, where celebrities stay silent. We need to be strong Christians. Christians do more harm to Jesus' kingdom than atheists do. Why? Because lukewarm Christians do this. They have their wife parade around naked. Not good. So the bottom line is this, guys. As leaders of the house, we set the standards so high that our wives don't want to do any of those things. Now, if you're in a position where your wife dresses, excuse my French, pretty slutty, well, focus on yourself. Get close with God. Grow yourself. Let your fruits be so strong. But as the leader of the house, you lovingly explain to her why those things are not acceptable. You set the standards. What does I'd say 99% of marriages don't even have a mission statement for their family. What's the purpose of your family? If your last name's the Smiths, what's the point of the Smith family? Because I'll tell you right now, the point of life is not to just raise good kids, save for retirement, and be a good person. That's not it. That's not the point of life. Show me the Bible verse that says that that's what the point of life is. Now, those are aspects of it. The point of life is to love God, love people, and create disciples of all nations. You know how you love people the best? By loving God and doing what he says. You know how you create disciples? By letting that fruit come to your life, by being bold, by willing to be persecuted, because Jesus was killed on the cross. 11 out of the 12 disciples were killed, and the 12th was tortured off and on. That's one part of being a disciple maker. That's not comfort. Now, there's blessings on this earth that come from that, but the main ones are eternal. So when you know the purpose of your life, of why he created you, why he's given you this wife, and why you're stewarding this, and you're going for that every single day, good things will happen. And it's not to just get to the end of life and die, and because you're going to go to heaven. You're got to think way past that line. When you do that, you'll make tough decisions in your household for your family because you've shown them this is what we're working towards as a family. You have a target, you have a vision, you have a mission. Without vision, a man will perish. That's in Proverbs. We have to have the vision for them. And then when they have the vision, they understand it. We can set the guidelines behind that. And those guidelines come from God. And here's how we do it in our household. Here's why we're doing these things, rather than just saying, well, you can't go stay at your friend's house for this reason, or you can't listen to that TV, watch that TV show just because of that. Like, no, they know why. If not, they just think you're a jerk. But when you explain to them, but then you're showing fruit at the same time, they'll understand it. So guys, this is a teachable moment to not let our wives be in that specific situation. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Love y'all. If this impacted you, hit the thumbs up on YouTube, rate it 5 stars on the other one. And guys, let's take this mission that God's doing right now in this country of raising up strong, masculine men who are taking back territory, not only in this country, but in this world. Creating disciples of all nations. Love y'all. Keep up the great work.